Now, this is not just impacting people and businesses. There's also charities that are looking for workarounds. The Daily Bread Food Bank is among many big charities that relies on Canada Post at this critical Thanksgiving season. We're going to bring in live now the Daily Bread CEO, Neil Hetherington, on how they've been dealing with the strike. Neil, I know that many people, particularly when it comes to food banks, there's still a lot of people that use the mail. Does this create a big impact overall for the Daily Bread Food Bank and other food banks, or is this just another bump in the road, for lack of a better way to put it?
Well, it's another bump in a very bumpy road already. This road is one where more than 1 in 10 Torontonians now has to make use of the Daily Bread Food Bank, and so to have this interruption is painful. We've been monitoring the situation for a number of months and looking at how we might mitigate some of the risks, and the risks are pretty substantive. Right now, we have to raise $38 million a year just to maintain service for those 1 in 10 Torontonians. Right now, we've raised about $3 million, and the bulk of the funds come in through November and December. As those funds come in, about a quarter of them come in through mail. And so, obviously, we're very concerned about the impact that it will have on the plates of Torontonians all across the city.
Well, just doing some quick math there, if we're only talking about the $3 million and just using that as a ballpark, you're saying that like in a random period, that's $750,000 that could not be potentially, collected by the Daily Bread Food Bank if they don't have access to fundraisers through the mail. Are there ways to reach out to those particular communities, or are you maybe dealing with a lot of people that don't have access to a computer regularly, or how much of a surmountable problem is it?
Sadly, the math is actually much more stark than that. We've got about 36 million more to raise. So 25% of that, around $8 million, is what we are depending on the City of Toronto to mail in. So ways that we are trying to mitigate that, obviously encouraging folks to make donations online. That is a huge help to us. To set up monthly donations to the Daily Bread Food Bank. These are the types of things that we are hopeful people will take action on, because when you think about the harm that the postal strike is causing to businesses all across the country, that harm is going to have to be mitigated by the food banks that are picking up the slack, by the food banks that are providing food relief to each person who is furloughed or loses their job, to each business that can no longer send out their parcels the way that they were expecting. So it is a tremendous impact to food banks across Canada, but here in Toronto in particular to the Daily Bread Food Bank.
Now, Neil, I don't want to be minimizing how much this could impact the potential $8 million, if not more, that's needed just from the quarter coming from mail-in deliveries. But I also remember being on the picket line during the last strike and talking to people that work in Toronto as part of the Canada Post, network of employees, and they say that they have people in the union that that need the assistance of the food bank. They go to the food bank regularly for help. Does it thinking about the damage that's being done to the food bank is one thing. Do you think really where we're at right now, there's underlying problems that you would like to be able to address? That I guess we talk about Band-Aid solutions being some things like the food bank.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that the Daily Bread is very proud of is how we look long term to the systemic causes of why people are hungry. And we regularly are advocating for affordable housing and for income supports that are appropriate. The third pillar of our advocacy is the decreasing of precarious employment, which we see rising all across the country. And so we're advocating hard on that front. And so we understand that, just like Air Canada, there were food banks set up at Air Canada Union stations across the country. It shouldn't be that way. We know that about 60% of Canadians who come to the food bank have a post-secondary education, and more than 50% have full-time employment. And so, when somebody's social contract is broken, where, they've gone to school, they got a post-secondary education, they got a job, and yet they still require food charity, there's something fundamentally broken, and we're going to advocate hard to be able to right that wrong.
Neil, just to make sure for people at home, if they do normally rely on the mail, where can they reach you via the internet?
Well, we are very hopeful that people will either give us a call or visit dailybread.ca. We will make sure that those donations are used to purchase good food that comes from all across the province into the homes of individuals who are food insecure.
Neil, thank you very much for your time. Neil Hetherington, CEO of Daily Bread.